In 2022, an indie game called Iron Lung quietly released to almost no marketing. It was developed by a single person, David Szymanski, and it sold for less than the price of a cheap meal. The game runs for roughly 30 minutes from start to finish. It has no enemies that chase you, it has no weapons, it barely has any sound effects, and despite all of this, in the years since release, Iron Lung has become the center of one of the strangest theological debates in modern internet history. Because Iron Lung is not just science fiction, according to a growing community of players, Iron Lung is a religious horror story hiding inside a sci-fi shell, and the evidence, when you actually start to look at it, is harder to dismiss than you would expect. The premise of the game is deceptively simple. You play a prisoner who has been sentenced to death by an authoritarian government. The court has offered you one option for survival. You will be sealed inside a small metal submarine, called the Iron Lung, and dropped onto the surface of a recently discovered moon. Your job is to navigate the submarine across an ocean of blood and take photographs of specific coordinates. Once your task is complete, you will be retrieved. The catch is that the submarine has no windows. Your only view of the outside world is a small monochrome monitor, which displays a low-resolution camera feed. Everything you see in pixels. For the first 10 minutes, this feels like science fiction. You move the submarine, you take pictures, you hear strange noises in the distance, the water groans against the hull. And then slowly the game stops feeling like science fiction. It starts feeling like something far older. The setting begins with a single line of text in the opening of the game. Years ago, all the stars went out. Every star in the universe gone. No explanation, no warning. The sun is missing, the moon is gone. Entire constellations have vanished. Most habitable worlds were wiped out at the same time. Only barren bodies remain, and on a few of these dead bodies, oceans of blood have appeared. To the average player, this reads as cosmic horror. To anyone familiar with the Book of Revelation, it reads as something else entirely. Revelation describes the end of the world in unmistakable terms. The stars of the sky fall to the earth. The sun becomes black as sackcloth. The moon becomes like blood. The sea becomes blood. Every island is moved out of its place. The parallels are not subtle. They are not even hidden. They are the spine of the entire game. The most popular Reddit theory pushes this further. The disappearance of the stars is not random. The choice of which planets survived is not random. The barren moons left behind are exactly the kind of judgment described in Scripture. What looks like a sci-fi mystery is in fact the aftermath of an apocalyptic event. The player is not exploring an alien ocean. The player is exploring the corpse of creation. This theory has gained so much ground that some players have gone through the game frame by frame, comparing each visual to a corresponding verse in Revelation. The matches are uncanny. When the game shows you a barren moon with a single ocean of blood, fans point to Revelation chapter 8, where a third of the sea becomes blood. When the game shows you the absence of stars, fans point to Revelation chapter 6, where the stars of heaven fall like ripe fruit. The game never says any of this out loud. It does not need to. The imagery says it for the game. There is a second theory that takes this even further. The stars did not vanish randomly. Something is choosing what stays in reality. Habitable worlds are wiped, stars are extinguished, but certain things remain. The pattern reads less like a natural collapse and more like a filter. A great filter, applied by something that is sorting reality into what is allowed to exist and what is not. This theory borrows from a real concept in astrophysics called the Great Filter, which proposes that civilizations are routinely destroyed at certain stages of development. But the Iron Lung version is different. The Iron Lung filter is not blind, it is not random, it is selective. Whatever is doing the filtering is making active choices, and in the worldview of the game, those choices were made on a cosmic. The developer of Iron Lung has stayed mostly silent on these theories. David Szymanski has confirmed influences from Lovecraft, from analog horror, from older psychological horror games, but on the question of religious symbolism, he has never given a clear answer. The lore is intentionally minimal. There is no canon explanation, the game refuses to tell the player what happened, and it is precisely this silence that has allowed the religious horror reading to grow. Because when no explanation is given, players reach for the explanation that fits the imagery best, and the imagery again and again points to Revelation. There is one final detail that fans return to. The submarine itself is named Iron Lung, the breath, the air. In nearly every religious tradition, breath is divine. Breath is the spark of life given by God. In the book of Genesis, God breathes into the dust to create man. In Hebrew, the word for breath, ruach, is the same word for spirit. The act of breathing is the foundation of being alive. And the player, sealed inside an iron coffin, is one of the last creatures still breathing in a universe that has been judged and emptied. That is not a coincidence. That is theology. There is something else worth noting. The mission you're given in the game is to take photographs. You're not there to fight. You're not there to explore. You're there to bear witness. And in the religious tradition that the game seems to be drawing from, that is exactly what the survivors of an apocalyptic event are described as doing. The Book of Revelation itself is presented as a vision given to John the Witness. The player of Iron Lung is in a very real sense, playing the role of John, sealed in an iron coffin, traveling across an ocean of blood, taking photographs that nobody back home will ever fully understand. The game ends in a way that I will not spoil here, but I will say this. The ending makes more sense if you read the entire experience as a religious horror story. It makes less sense if you read it as a sci-fi mystery. That, more than anything else, is why the religious reading has stuck. It is the only reading that explains the ending. So is Iron Lung secretly a religious horror story? The developer has never confirmed it. The lore allows for both readings, but the patterns are too consistent to ignore. The stars going out, the moon like blood, the ocean of blood, the mission to bear witness, the breath inside the iron coffin. Whatever the original intent was, the game has been read by its players as something far older and far more terrifying than science fiction. It has been read as the end of the world. And in a way, that is the genius of Iron Lung. It does not tell you what is happening. It shows you the imagery, drops you in the middle of it, and lets your own mind fill in the gaps. If you grew up secular, the game is cosmic horror. If you grew up religious, the game is the apocalypse. The same 30 minutes of gameplay produces two completely different experiences depending on what you bring to it. That is not bad design. That is one of the most powerful tricks in storytelling. The game lets you reveal yourself to yourself. If this video helped you see Iron Lung in a new light, consider subscribing for more theory deep dives. Because in a universe where the stars have already gone out, the only thing left to do is keep looking.